Hey, everybody. Welcome back. Thank you so much for diving into this document. We'll be talking in this section about what are our objectives. Pretty much what is the point of this? Why is this valuable? And how can it help the Neon Labs organization and community as a whole? This section is broken down into 6 parts. That is community growth, active partnerships, grant participation, talent acquisition, investor relations, and operational efficiency. I'm going to go through each of these items individually, just share a quick summary of them. As I understand, different people like to receive information in different ways. So if you're the type of person who wants to go to dive into the documentation, play with it, read it yourself, feel free to skip this video and just dive into the text. All the information will be there. On the other hand, if you like to binge items on Netflix, perhaps you just want to be able to press play, slap it down to 3.5x and watch everything, please go ahead. I'll also have this all available on YouTube for you in the form of a playlist that you can watch everything. So let's dive in. When it comes down to community growth, this is really going to be your standard social metrics. That's going to be follower count, engagement scores, participation rates. That's also going to include how effectively are we connecting with our different target audiences and assessing how effective is our content in comparison to those target audiences. In the next section, that is active partnerships. Of course, this would be the main function of a partnership director. In this case here, I wanted to discuss how, of course, the objective is to create deals that are synergistic with other projects in the space. But more importantly, I wanted to explain what I found from my research and experience to be the most impactful aspect of being able to close effective and value-creating partnership deals. And that's by understanding the other party. Specifically, understanding that we all face pretty much the same limitation. That's time, capital, and capacity. Capacity in terms of what types of technology or experience or labor hours do we have available to get various initiatives done. And by understanding that other projects have these limitations of these 3 primary variables, we're able to find as an organization, where are our strengths and what is our zone of genius? And how can we pair that with another project that perhaps has a different set of strengths, a different zone of genius, and perhaps a different balance of these 3 limiting factors. So by being able to level with a project and to showcase that we understand where they're coming from, by doing at least a modicum of research to understand what does the technology do, who is the audience that they're trying to serve, and where are they at right now in their roadmap, so we can understand what's important to them. It makes it to where partnership discussions become very, very smooth and allows us to be able to take action on those synergies much more effectively. The next section is grant participation. This is one of those things I wanted to understand deeper. I've already gone through the process of successfully achieving grants at 3 different projects I previously worked with, but this was really only dipping my toe in the water. So I went through it and analyzed 17 different grant programs from some of the top projects in the space. And what I was looking for is trends and insights to find out what are projects doing well and what are the projects doing badly. And what I found is that having a grants program is one thing. And even if a project has hundreds of millions of dollars sitting in their grants program, one, if nobody knows about it, then the participation rates are likely to be low. And then 2, if grant participants are not able to actually achieve the milestones to create the use case value, then unfortunately it's just not going to be a win for everybody. So to be able to balance out on our side as an organization, how do we make sure that the capital being invested in the grants program is producing as much value creation as possible? And secondly, how do we ensure that as many people as possible are able to not just run through the application process, but achieve the milestones to produce the use case value we're looking for? Next is talent acquisition. Now, this is one of those pieces that, while it may not be a direct impact of our business partnerships, it certainly creates an impact on how much talent we're able to bring in. People, especially developers, we don't want to work for a company just for money. We know we can make money. We know our value because we're intelligent enough to use the internet. On the other hand, what we really value the most is the ability to make an impact. So by being able to showcase and project ourselves as a brand that's really making a difference, that has a cool technology and a code base that's actually making a difference, these are the types of items that'll make it to where, while every single project is screaming about we're hiring, either in the Twitter description or their title, we can make it to where projects and we can make it to where applicants are more interested in considering working for us, so we can begin to attract the best talent in the space. Because while it may look like there's a labor shortage, it's undeniable that every single day there are more people who are joining the Web3 ecosystems. The question is, what projects are they spending their time and attention in? Finally, it comes down to investor relations. Now, while of course we cannot just shamelessly solicit our services or our token, because well, in this stage, if something is being considered a security, which of course this is a utility token, at the same time, precedence does suggest that it is illegal to go out and try to make a solicitation without following compliance and regulatory requirements. What we need to do instead is understand the investor mindset, understand that they have thousands of projects that are vying for their attention and their capital, and make it to where we can stand out as a project of interest for them to dive in and do their own research by making it easy to understand what we do, by making it to where they clearly understand the competitive advantage of our project versus others, while also making it clear what levels they're able to participate and where they can learn more information about how that participation may be able to impact them. Finally, and this really is more of a catch-all, it's how do we improve the overall operational efficiency of our organization here at Neon Labs. The idea here is that if we have to have a contact management system to be able to manage the hundreds of conversations that are happening for deal structuring, whether that's grants or partnerships, that's also going to provide us with a very nice knowledge base to be able to create effective content, to be able to reach out to these different target audiences that we're looking for. On top of that, in my data background, I can't help but get very, very excited about analytic insights and forecasting. But the fact is, it would be very useful for our operations team to be able to determine what does the pipeline look like in terms of business partnerships, so we can allocate the right amount of labor hours for integration engineers or research and development, or perhaps into marketing to be able to make sure we have the best content out there to be able to attract the people that we're going for. So in this manner, it's something that when I look at why does this role exist of partnership director, it's in order to be able to help bring in deals that can add value to the Neon Labs organization. And when I look through the dozens and dozens and dozens of other projects that are also hiring similar roles and looking for the trends and insights, I found that from a cost benefit perspective, it could actually be a heck of a lot more affordable to be able to have a single person with the experience of a digital marketer who understands how to create effective content, as well as how to be able to create and manage a high converting pipeline. On top of that, it's something where a partnership director has got to be charismatic. They've got to be able to do research. They've got to be able to communicate effectively in order to close the deals. On top of that, a grants manager needs to be very, very aware of how technology works and how other projects are able to bring their value to the program, as well as organized enough to send documentation in a compliant and secure manner. To be able to have a different role for each of these people would cost 3 times as much money. I do believe that I fit the bill for being able to support each of these roles. In my experience and knowledge base makes it to where I could actually save the company quite a bit of money by creating something of a hybrid role. I like to call it ecosystem growth director. Something that makes it to where my role is to be able to support the ecosystem as a whole, the organization leadership, the community, our stakeholders, and to make sure that we're looking at how can we protect our bottom line by not necessarily bringing too many cooks into the kitchen. So if this sounds interesting for you, please continue to read along. And if you have any questions, please jot them down. I'd love to have a discussion with you whenever we chat. In the next video, we're going to talk more about the various target audiences that we can be targeting and the impact of how we can have as smooth of a pipeline as possible, so that way we can get more deals done. That sounds interesting? Then hop on over. Whether you like to watch through YouTube or here in the Notion document, or maybe you like just to read along and not take the time to watch the videos, any of those options is A-okay. Looking forward to next time we see each other, and until then, dos vidania.